Welcome to News from Down Home. I'm going to start with talking about an article from the Marylander and Herald on July 6, 1915. Now, the Marylander and Herald was a paper of record in Princess Anne, Maryland, which is my hometown. I spent my time as a young child there, and my family had moved there in 1903 from Western Pennsylvania. My great grandfather, and we have many relatives there since then. But even though I've moved away many years ago, I do regard it as my hometown, and I do think of it fondly. It was a great time I had when I was growing up there when I was young. So July 6, 1915, the Marylander and Herald has an interesting article, I think, and it talks about how um, there was a young men give a dance. So it talks about a very enjoyable dance was given by the young men of Princess Anne last Wednesday night at the auditorium. The improvements to the hall were greatly admired and enjoyed by those present. In spite of the warm weather, there was very good attendance, but with such well-known steppers for a dancer as Messrs. Robert F. Dewar, H.L. Brittingham, H.T. Rule, C.C. Waller, and Dr. R.H. Berman were greatly missed. They weren't there. Excellent music was rendered by Mrs. J.D. Wallop, pianist, and Mr. C.H. Mallison, drummer. Among those present were the Misses Mary Miles DeShiel, Mildred Beecham, Anna Fitzgerald, Aline Wallop, Ellen D. McMaster, Olga Young, Nancy Page, Marion Stanford, Olive DeShield, Irene Taylor, Bernice Thompson, Anita Rivers, Amanda Langford, and Mrs. L. C. Beecham of Princess Anne, Miss Frances Williams of Salisbury, Miss Priscilla Langford of Chrisfield, Miss Mary Campbell of Roanoke, and Messrs. Maurice Adams, J.D. Wallop, Jr., James Taylor, Richard Dale, George H. Meyer, Samuel Sudler, Edwin Jones, Oliver T. Beecham, L.C. Beecham, Robert F. Maddox Jr., Gordon Tull, Vernon White, Omar J. Croswell, Robert Waller, S. Jarman, and Dr. C.T. Fisher of Princess Anne, and Mr. W.R. Kelly of Baltimore. The dancers were honored and greatly pleased to have the following chaperones present: Mrs. O.T. Beecham, Mrs. W.E. McMaster, Mrs. Harris, Mrs. Dale, Mrs. F.T. Smith, Mrs. Thompson, Mrs. J.T. Taylor, Mrs. R.H. Berman, and Miss Sands. Now, think of those names. These people are having a great time in a summer afternoon, summer evening. They're having a great time. They're dead now. They're all gone. That was a long time ago. Um, but they were young, they were vital, they had lives, they had hopes, they had dreams, they had aspirations, faith, no faith, whatever. And their lives have they've had their lives. They've grown and gone, and they're gone now. So I just thought it was interesting. Just makes me think, gives you pause. Now I want to go back to that walking tour of Princess Anne. The the building that was the Joshua W. Miles house and is now the Hinman Funeral Home, and I'll post that picture. Um, Interesting to me is I looked up, I didn't know Joshua W. Miles. Who was this person? Because it seems like it didn't give you any information. So Joshua Weldon Miles served as a representative, a United States representative from Maryland from 1895 to 1897. Now, he was a lawyer, a banker, a Democratic politician, and he was born on the Great Animasix River near the village of Marion in Somerset County. And he went to Western Maryland College. I think it's called McDaniel College now in Westminster, from which he graduated in 1878. He took legal studies at the law department of the University of Maryland in Baltimore. He got admitted to the bar in July 1880. He practiced law in Princess Anne, and he established himself as a practicing attorney. He held prosecutorial office, served as state's attorney of Somerset County from 1883 to 1887. My cousin Logan was the state's attorney for many years. In that role, he represented the state in criminal matters in the county courts. He was unsuccessful candidate for reelection at the end of his term, but it did kind of enhance his public profile and reputation. He continued his law practices. He ran for the Democratic Party, running successfully for a seat in the House of Representatives, Congress, 54th Congress. He was served one term, and and then he had a pretty good reputation, but he didn't get reelected, so it wasn't that great. He resumed his law practice in Princess Anne, and was a leading attorney in the region. And he served as the Bank of Somerset from 1900 until his death in 1929. So that's pretty impressive. He also was very active in the Democratic Party in Maryland, state and national levels. So this was an important person who lived in Princess Anne. He's buried in Menoken Cemetery in Princess Anne, Somerset County. So that's where the area that he was born in and raised in, and practiced law, led a local bank, and built his public career. So I thought that was an interesting person. So I'll finish with them. By the way, I just learned, or I just should have known, that Princess Anne was originally named Menoken before it changed its name to Princess Anne, or its name was changed. All right. Well, thank you for watching Down Home News from Down Home, and I hope that you enjoyed that.